right, thank you everyone for attending today. I'm going to go over some of the automated material handling system benefits and questions today. And if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or write them down. We'll have plenty of time at the end to go over all the answers. So, all right, what is an AMH?
Working.
There. Yay. All right. So what we'll cover today. What is an automated material handling system? Why are we considering one? How can we tell if it's worth it? Where are we in the process? And what do we need from our members? All right. What is an automated material handling system? It's a tool or system of tools that removes the need for manual interaction to check in, check out, move, or sort materials. We're going to play a short video from our trip to the St. Louis County Library, where they have an automated material handling system. This is a book shoveler, and they are using the Linkso system. That's the brand of the automated material handling system they have. And as you can see, they have one end where the actual library employee is putting books into the AMH machine, and then on the other side, that book to shoveler is putting books out. So then they can kind of interconnected, do one at a time. And then items will go down that conveyor belt, and as it goes through, it reads either the RFID tag or the outside barcode, and then it already knows which tub to drop that item into. As those items are dropped, the Linkso machine specifically, it kind of has a system where it does every other item, so it doesn't stack them all up too. And then you can see there, this is what the screen looks like when the tubs are getting close to being full, or if they're still allowed to have items put in there. So that's just a short little clip I believe Shandy made for us from our trip there to the St. Louis County. Right on there. All right, so why are we considering one? There are some potential benefits for our member libraries. So the long-term cost savings for share member libraries will be seen through the saving of paper. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word there. So the AMH machine will route items with barcodes instead of labels. So all those miles of receipt paper that you use just to get the item through transit will no longer be needed if you are a share member library. There will be a faster turnaround of time after weekends and holidays. So the IHLS sorting staff will be able to sort those heavy loads, such as those due to weekends or holidays, in one single day, versus currently we sometimes have a multiple day backlog that occurs after the weekends. There'll be more accurate sorting. While the missorting isn't common, it does happen. And when an item is sent to the wrong library in another hub, this means it could be over a week before the item ends up in the hands of a patron, versus the same next day whenever the AMH machine is able to sort that item correctly. So this would further reduce this occurrence. We will also have pandemic resistant sorting. With the low touch nature of the automated material handling system, it would disrupt the future. It would not make a disruption from future pandemics or similar emergencies, and they would be far less likely. There would also be the more accurate data tracking and statistics. The automated material handling system will allow for items status to be automatically updated in Polaris. This allows the library to be able to know exactly where the item is in their transit journey. There's also a potential for sorting holds and returns for the share member libraries. This is a feature that we need to determine the feasibility on and something we're currently investigating in. But if this would work, the share members could elect to have their holds versus their returns sorted in separate bins, and this would allow for member library staff sort time to be reduced. There are also potential benefits to IHLS. So as, of course, reduce long-term operating costs to IHLS. Our personnel costs would be reduced through decreased total staff hours. We would not be eliminating sorter staff at all. As you can see in the video, we absolutely will still need staff to run and operate the machine. This will likely be accomplished through our attrition-related staff reductions. And our biggest concern is the staff turnover in these sorting positions. We have to frequently replace sorters. And this statistic is from the previous time I looked at this, which was about 6 months ago. I haven't updated it yet for today, but over the last 18 months, of the 11 sorter positions that we have across the IHLS hubs, we have lost and needed to retrain one sorter on average of every 2 months. So there's a definite cost for IHLS for that. And this has been a trend. It's not just that it was over the last 18 months. It has been occurring for at least 5 years now, where we're having to frequently replace sorter positions. So the onboarding cost is an estimated $1,000. And then there's also the administrative cost of onboarding and training staff. And this has nothing to do with the same timeline whenever they are terminated. So that's a definite cost to IHLS that we would be seeing a reduction in. There's a faster turnaround delivery time after weekends and holidays, which I kind of already touched base on for the member libraries. It's also a benefit for us. And then the increased efficiency through increased speed. The number of items that sorted per hour would be much higher. So that this would help staff ensure that all items are sorted every day. A typical automated material handling machine can sort on average 2,000 items per hour. And the current IHLS manual sorting method will average anywhere from 300 to 400 items per hour. So that's a big change in the number of items that can be sorted. Of course, there's a reduced likelihood of chronic injury. The sorting bins will be able to be adjusted to the employee's heights, and this would provide a safer and ergonomically adjustable workstation for our staff, which would help to further prevent injuries and workers' compensation claims, I'm sorry. And then the last bullet point is no major changes to our current infrastructure. So while it does seem like this automated material handling system is a big machine and a big change for us, we're not going to have to change our current infrastructure. It actually only takes one single outlet and one data cable to be able to operate this machine. So we will not need to go over any major infrastructure changes to be able to install these machines. But is it worth it? How much will it cost IHLS? How much will it cost member libraries? And how long will it take for us to see a return on investment? How much will it cost? We're in the request for proposal stage, and this request for proposal will allow us to determine the exact cost of an automated material handling system at all 3 hubs. In fall of 22, when we did the request for information stage, when that was just for the Edwardsville location, we received responses that the machines could range anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000 for the unit at the Edwardsville location. This, of course, depends on the vendor that was selected because there's a big difference in the machine cost. How much will it cost member libraries? IHLS member libraries do not pay fees to be a member of IHLS. Therefore, members would not see a fee of any sort related to the purchase or the operation of the automated material handling system. Also, no portion of those fees will be passed along to share members either, as this machine would be purchased and maintained by the IHLS portion of our funds. What about other costs? The only possible costs that are related to libraries, which we do know can be big for some member libraries, are the rebarcoding of some of their items. So there's a lot of factors here to consider. So this is if and only if you are a share member library that we would need to potentially consider this. If you have the items on the inside of your barcode of your items instead of on the outside, because the machine would need barcodes on the outside. But if you have an RFID tag and have them on the inside, it would not matter. The machine would be able to read it through the RFID tag. And then also the items that are actually just circulated outside of your library. So if you have items, you don't necessarily need to go and barcode your entire collection. It would just be those items as they're circulated outside of your library that would need to be rebarcoded. So IHLS staff are currently evaluating how many libraries this will affect. And some libraries have indicated that they would like the help of IHLS staff to rebarcode. and we are definitely interested in doing that. So whether it's the use of barcode duplicators that we're loaning out, and you would like to do the rebarcoding yourself, or IHLS staff taking our time to use those barcode duplicators, we are interested in looking into this and helping you accomplish this task. We have heard positive reviews from libraries in other states that have been through this process that have used the barcode duplicators with no issues. How will IHLS pay for this? We're of course exploring grants as a way to pay for this, but we also have a general fund reserve balance that we have accrued over year that we have saved, and that's a potential way to also pay for these machines, and we do have enough in our reserve with the estimated costs as they are right now. How long will it take to see a return on investment? This will be calculated by our IHLS finance and operations staff after we receive those RFP results. The current return on investment is around 7 years, but a typical lifespan of an automated material handling system can be anywhere from 10 to 15 years, as given from the actual companies that have returned or that replied to the RFI. However, we do have some AMH customers that have reported that their machines are still in full operation and they're nearing the 20-year mark. So the 7-year return on investment would definitely outweigh the 15+ years of our hopeful lifespan of this machine. So where are we in the process? In the first stage, we did staff research and we issued the request for information to get more information about how the automated material handling system would work. In the second stage, we brought in members, we formed a working group, we did more research on the member needs and the machine capabilities, and then we made the decision that we should go ahead and issue the RFP to be able to determine more exact costs on that. So we're on stage 3 right now, and then in October, we began working with a consultant, and he is going to help us not only just write that RFP, but it's going to include the circulation data analysis, making sure the numbers that we're reporting appear to be accurate and helping us determine our workflows and what the timeline might be. And then of course, determining kind of sorter savings we might see in the number of hours. He's also helping us create that implementation plan so that if we do decide to move forward, we've got that implementation kind of drafted, because the RFP vendors will need to know, you know, how long and how many months apart we'll be installing these machines and when they'll need their staff to be able to be on board. And then obviously the RFP development, and then all the communications with our vendors. And then he'll also be traveling to do the site visits with us whenever we have those site visits open for our RFP vendors. So in January of 2024, we aim to have that RFP posted. And then we'll also be doing some additional rebarcoding analysis with our member libraries, so we can have a better gauge on what those costs might be when we go to determine our return on investment. And then in April, in March, we'll be opening those results. And then in April, we'll have those results of those RFP posted and the return on investment will be completed. And then in May, the IHLS board will make that decision if we decide to move forward with this automated material handling system or not. So what do we need from our members? Soon we'll be posting a savings calculator on our website, and we need volunteers to help us provide examples of the estimated savings. This will be not only the paper savings, but then staff time as well, whenever it comes to checking in an item on the machine versus, or with the machine that we're utilizing with versus without. And we'll have a full explanation of all that on our website. We also need help determining the rebarcoding plans. How many libraries will this affect? Who needs our assistance? Because we need to include the IHLS staff time and include that weigh-in from our member libraries on our return on investment calculations. And then the barcoding placement communications. I know this has also been a hot topic and it's very important. So in the delivery survey that was released last year, many participants indicated that the formal guidance on the barcode placement, if it was developed, that a vote by members would be the best method to determine placement. At this point, we're just thinking that it just needs to be on the outside of the item. Of course, I know that in other states, their state librarian has indicated where it needs to be for all libraries so that it's easy to be able to find. So we're kind of navigating through this right now and deciding what's the best for all of our member libraries. And then lastly, we'll be doing a container level check-in determination. This is a buy-up feature for some of the machines. And we don't know if this is a feature, it would only be beneficial essentially for our member libraries. So we need to know if that feature is worth IHLS investing that cost in or not. So stay tuned for communications from us, and that will probably be in January regarding this information. If you are interested in helping with this process, you have questions or concerns, please reach out to us. My information is listed here, and it's also listed on the last slide. We have a full portion of our website dedicated to this. If you go to illinoisheartland.org/delivery, there's a tab there on the right-hand side that says the AMH project. And a lot of this information that is in this PowerPoint can also be found, plus more additional FAQ questions on this. So thank you very much for today, and now we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Colleen. We did, I was gonna say, we also have a question through chat.
Sure. We'll go ahead and do it first here, yeah.
If our barcodes are currently inside our items, should we be moving toward moving them to that side, or should we wait for their work to?
That's a touchy subject. We don't, what I've been saying.
300 to 400 items a month just from our facility that we're slapping on the inside.
Yes, I know, and that's where we're like, we can't give formal guidance yet because we don't know. Based on the past RFI, it seemed like it was promising to move forward with it based on cost. But that was also done back at kind of at the beginning of the pandemic, so we just don't know if the costs are worth it or not. If you think it might be best and you don't want us to help you re-barcode and you want to do it with your staff time, it may be a good idea to go ahead and start doing on the outside of items. So I can't get formal.
I mean, I can think of both. I'm thinking at some point we'll need help with our existing collections.
Yes, absolutely.
But I'm thinking of new items as we process
Yes.
them. Should we just make that move now?
I think it's a wise idea to do that, just not only for your items, but I know that that's a concern between a lot of member libraries is the amount of time that circulation staff spend trying to find where a barcode is.
Yeah.
Because when items are sent through share, you don't know where it's gonna be, and that's where we would love to try to come up with a formal guidance of like, here's where the barcode be, but is it our place to say that? Yes, Andrew, I'm sure has a lot to say.
I do, and we have had this conversation multiple times of barcode placement, and every single time people are very adamant that we need to have a standardized barcode placement where they put their barcode. And so that's the right place, and so that is really tricky. And so we talked about it as share committees, and have just left it up to libraries to make that decision for themselves. But we are watching this process very closely because we all agree that it would be very helpful, but we just couldn't agree on what that place was, if that makes sense.
So if we decided on our own that right away we need to move our barcodes to the outside, I understand the ground I'm treading on, but do you have a best recommendation? You know, if we're gonna jump.
Do you have one? I
Top right,
unfortunately
top
don't.
left.
I personally, I'm not speaking on behalf of Share and any of the committees. I personally think the top right is the best place, but you need to make sure to avoid any cataloging data, USB, you don't want near a USB, or anything like that. That's what I think, but there is also some argument that being on the left-hand side would be helpful for inventory. So again, it's very much, people have very strong feelings where the right place is. And that's really where everybody agrees it needs to be standardized. Everybody agrees it's standardized to where they think it's the right place.
Yeah, but
We made a change.
The outside.
We had ours in, we moved it to the front page, and our staff love it. Cause they don't have to open books, they're not searching through, I mean, it's been, this one was positive changes we made during COVID.
Oh, I agree. I mean, this is the first library I've ever worked in where it's inside. And so.
I wish we had a more formal answer for you, hopefully soon. And I don't know, like, I love when I heard that the state librarian just gave the recommendation in other states, because I'm like, maybe that's where we need to start, but we haven't obviously even proposed that, so.
So here's a question from the chat that kind of goes along with that. Is it okay to put the barcode on the back of the book? Would there be any problem with the machine reading the ISBN label or USB or that label by mistake?
What we've heard from the consultant is no, there's not going to be an issue with that. It's going to be on the outside of the material, both on the top and the bottom, no matter which way, if it's barcode first or barcode the other way, the machine will just read that barcode no matter what. And obviously, if you have an RFID tag, it'll read that first. So basically the way that machine operates is it goes and looks for that RFID tag, and then if there is not an RFID tag, then it reads that barcode and then it continues to go on. So it can read on both top and bottom.
And then we have another, it's not so much a question, just a comment and a question about the increase in energy costs and how sorting will occur during electrical outages.
Yes.
And then they were concerned if this is a green initiative.
Oh, interesting. I'll need to double check. I did not double check that question about the efficiency. I do know that since it operates on a single plug, it should not see a major increase in energy costs. And I'm going to reach out to, I know Decatur Public Library, not to put them on the spot, but they have an AMH, and that is where I got to see one live and in person. I've been in contact with Carol there, so I'll ask her about their energy costs with that. There's a second portion to that.
Oh, no, that pretty much, and that answered it, and then somebody just suggested that perhaps solar might be an energy.
Oh, but they asked about the electrical outages as well.
Yes,
So,
sorry.
yeah, no, I was like, I know there was a second part to that. Overall, in general, we do have a backup generator at the Edwardsville office. However, if we did not have power, we probably would not have staff working in the building anyways. So this would not really affect our operations because we try not to make staff work when there isn't power anyways. So, but it does require, of course, the use of internet and power to be able to operate, which obviously we're used to our manual sort method now. And many of our sorters and operation staff are used to that. And I should mention here as well, the items that are going to be sorted through this machine are share items only. So member libraries who are standalones, the ILDS items, anything that's sent for cataloging or CMC, those items will not be sent through this machine at all. So you do not have to worry about the preservation of historic items or stuff like that. Those will not be sent through this machine. So IHLS staff will still have to hand sort some of the standalone items, but based on the data that we've downloaded from the past couple, we've varied a couple years and compared the data. The amount of time that we'll still spend hand sorting those standalones will not take up a large portion of our time. A lot of our circulation is through the share program, and that will greatly benefit our staff with that savings. So. Are there any other questions?
No other questions that came through on the chat. Does anyone have any questions, comments? And we'll make sure whenever we post the recording of this, that we'll have your contact information if anybody has any questions or thinks of anything, because I know every time it's like you're being put on the spot of what questions you have. And after we end this, you might have a great question. So please feel free to reach out to Colleen.
Absolutely. I would love your input because I want to make sure all things are considered before we move forward with this. Yeah.
Excellent, well, thank you. And if